The stars shimmered in the cold darkness of space. A small fleet of research ships floated near a dead system, orbiting a dying red star. No planets, no moons, just silence. But something strange was there, an object too massive to ignore. It was a ship, not built by humans, not built by any known alien race. It was old, older than any record in the galactic archive. It looked like a fortress. Black metal shaped like a spear, half a mile long, drifting without power. No lights, no signals, no movement, just silence. "Are we sure this isn't just debris?" asked Commander Rhea Morgan, staring at the huge object from the bridge of the Eclipse 7. "No," replied Dr. Henry Valar, a Zentari scientist with blue skin and glowing eyes. "Scans show structure, sealed compartments, and an intact energy core, though it's dormant." Rhea frowned. She had seen many strange things in deep space, but nothing like this. "Any sign of life?" she asked. "None," Henry replied. "No heat, no movement. It's like it's sleeping." Rhea turned to the screen again. The strange ship floated in the dark, as if waiting. The Eclipse 7 wasn't alone. Ships from 6 different species had come after detecting a strange gravitational pulse from this location. The signal had lasted only 3 seconds, but it had traveled across hundreds of light years. No one knew who sent it. Now, the Derelict ship was the center of attention. All tried to understand it. All failed. 12 hours later, the first boarding team was sent. They used plasma cutters. Nothing happened. They used quantum drills. Still nothing. Even the strongest plasma beams couldn't make a dent in the outer hull. "The material is unknown," Henry said. "It's not on our periodic table." Rhea watched the reports come in. Alien engineers, soldiers, and scientists, all frustrated. Then, something strange happened. One of the Darneks, a race known for brute force, brought in a translation drone and shouted commands at the ship in 50 different languages. "Open! Respond! Identify yourself!" Nothing. Not a single light flickered. Not a single sound came. The ship ignored all of them. Day 2 more teams tried. More languages, more machines. They even tried artificial telepathy. Nothing worked. Some aliens started to say the ship was dead. Others feared it was a trap. Rhea, however, felt something different. It wasn't dead. It was listening, but only to something it hadn't heard yet. That night, Rhea couldn't sleep. She sat in the observation deck, staring at the dark ship through the wide glass. "It's like it's waiting for something," she whispered. She didn't know why, but her gut told her this ship wasn't like anything else. It felt familiar in a way she couldn't explain. A quiet voice behind her spoke. "You feel it too," Henry said, stepping beside her. "The others call it a relic, but you think it's something else." "Yes," Rhea replied softly. "I think it's alive." Day 3. The Risk Henry came to her with a request. "Commander, I want you to try something," he said. "What?" she asked. "You speak dozens of human languages, ancient Earth dialects too." "So?" "No other species has gotten a reaction. Maybe it's waiting for you." She hesitated. "You think it will open just because I'm human?" Henry nodded. "It's a long shot, but nothing else has worked." Rhea stared at the strange ship on the screen. Her heart beat faster. She agreed. The boarding attempt. They suited her up in a sleek protective armor, gave her a wrist beacon, and a one-way comm. "No one has stepped on it," the alien guard said. "Be careful." The docking pod connected to a smooth surface on the ship's side. No door was visible. Rhea took a deep breath and stepped forward. She looked at the black surface, shiny and cold. Then she did something no one else had done. She spoke, not with weapons, not with scanners, just her voice. "Hello?" she said softly. "My name is Rhea Morgan. I come in peace. Can you hear me?" Nothing happened. She waited. Then something changed. A soft light appeared under her feet, forming a glowing path. The metal hissed and opened like petals of a flower. A door. The crowd watching on every ship gasped. Rhea's eyes widened. But she didn't step back. The ship had answered her. Inside. She walked slowly into a dim hallway, lit only by the glowing floor. The door closed behind her. Silence. Heavy silence. The air was warm, breathable, no signs of decay or damage. Strange. Symbols floated on the walls, shifting when she looked at them. Her voice trembled. "Can you understand me?" A soft hum answered. It wasn't words, but it felt like, yes. Suddenly, a light flickered ahead. Then another, then another. The hallway came alive with soft pulses, like the ship was waking up. In the control room, Henry shouted, "It's powering up! The ship's core is rising!" Panic spread among the other species. One of the Varnak generals said, "This human has triggered something. Prepare defense systems." But no weapons activated. No threat came. The ship remained quiet, except for the hum that grew louder. Rhea stepped deeper inside. The heart of the ship, she reached a chamber filled with glass walls and strange black crystals. A platform rose in the center, glowing. She placed her hand on it. A shock ran through her body. Images flashed in her mind. Stars, planets, and then humans. Not modern humans, ancient ones. Wearing armor made of light, standing before this very ship. One voice echoed in her mind. "Only the true voice may awaken us." She pulled back, gasping. The ship had spoken. To her, outside alien ships were buzzing with alarms. "What is she doing in there? Should we pull her out?" "No," Henry said. "She's the only one it listens to." The ancient ship had spoken. Rhea Morgan stood frozen in the glowing chamber. Her heart pounded in her chest. The voice in her head had been calm, strong, and very human. "You are the first voice, the first memory, the first return. Welcome, human." She had no idea what it meant, but she felt it deep in her bones. This was not just a machine. It was waiting for her. Outside, the ship panic was spreading on the nearby fleet. Every alien ship, from the insectoid Braval to the floating mines of the Kythene, was watching the Derelict closely. It had been dark for days. Now it glowed. Energy readings shot up. The ship's surface changed color, shifting from black to a soft silver blue. Inside their ships, commanders shouted orders. "Power up shields! Keep weapons ready!" Why is it listening to her? Only one person remained calm. Dr. Henry Valor, the Zentari scientist who first believed in Rhea's voice. "She's not a threat," Henry said, watching the glowing shape. "The ship chose her." Back inside, Rhea slowly took a step back from the glowing platform. The images in her mind had faded, but she still felt a strange warmth in her head, like something was gently watching her thoughts. She spoke aloud. "Who are you?" The voice answered again, directly in her mind. "I am Sentinel-1, guardian of memory, keeper of the last flame. You have awoken the path. You are human. That is enough." She looked around the room. "Why only me?" "You carry the voice, the echo of those who came before. They built me. They gave me purpose. I only answer to them. And now, to you." Rhea felt a chill. Built by humans? But this ship was millions of years old. Human civilization had only existed for a few thousand. How could that be? The door opens. As if hearing her thoughts, the chamber door opened again, this time leading deeper into the ship. Rhea looked over her shoulder. The path she had entered from was gone. Only forward remained. She took a breath and followed the light. A living ship. The hallway ahead was brighter, lined with glowing patterns that pulsed as she walked by. The floor was smooth, the air still warm. Each step felt familiar. "You were meant to come," the voice said. "I was lost, alone, waiting. Then your voice woke the code. The others do not carry the right echo. But you do." Rhea stopped. "What echo?" "The voice of humanity. Not just sound, but memory, thought, instinct. You are the future of an ancient past. And I remember you, outside the ship. The alien fear grows on the flagship Vartech Dominance. Commander Lurak, a giant armored reptilian, pounded his fist on the command table. "This ship is dangerous. It activates for one species only. That is a threat. Others." "Agreed." The Braval Queen hissed, "We should destroy it before it fully awakens." Henry interrupted the broadcast from his research ship. "You destroy something you don't understand. This ship is not attacking. It is responding." "But only to her," growled Lurak. "That makes humans dangerous." "Or chosen," Henry whispered. The voice shows. The past Rhea entered a room full of floating light panels. One by one, they lit up with images. A planet burning, a fleet of silver ships, warriors in armor, humans, but not like any human she had seen. Taller, stronger, eyes glowing with purpose. They were the first line, born from Earth long before Earth knew itself. They faced the silence, the enemy that unmade worlds. They won, but at a great cost. Only one ship remained, me. I was ordered to sleep, to wait for the voice. Yours. Rhea watched the scenes with wide eyes. Why didn't history remember them? Time erases many things, but not the code. The code lived on, in you. The ship reacts. As she walked, the ship seemed to react more strongly. The walls shimmered. Lights followed her movements. Doors opened. Before she could ask, the ship knew her. It was no longer asleep. Rhea stopped in front of a sealed room with a glowing handprint. Without hesitation, she pressed her palm to it. The door hissed open. Inside was a small control chamber. A single seat stood in the middle. Without thinking, Rhea sat down. The connection. The seat adjusted to her body. A ring of light circled her head, scanning. Connection formed. Voice confirmed. Identity bonded. Commander Rhea Morgan. Human. Suddenly, she could feel everything. The ship's systems lit up in her mind. Engines, weapons, history banks, maps. She gasped. "I can feel you. And I can feel you, voice. We are one now." Her hands moved. The walls responded. She was in control. Outside, ships prepare weapons. Sudden movement on the ship triggered warnings. It's powering internal systems. Shields are forming. It's preparing to launch. No response from the human. The alien fleet panicked. "Weapons ready." But Henry shouted across the open channel. "Wait! Don't fire! It's not attacking!" Commander Lurak didn't listen. "Target the ship. Fire if it moves." Inside, first conflict. Rhea heard everything. She saw red warnings in her mind. Weapons. Locking on. Missiles preparing to launch. "No!" she shouted. "I don't want to fight." "But they do," the ship said calmly. "I will defend you if needed." "But only if you command." Rhea thought hard. Then she spoke firmly. "Raise shields." "No weapons. Don't hurt anyone." "Understood." A glowing dome formed around the ship. Pure energy, shimmering like water. Alien weapons fired, but the blasts bounced off harmlessly. The derelict ship didn't fire back. It simply stood, protected. Sudden silence. The alien commanders watched, in shock. No counterattack? It just defended itself? Why isn't it fighting? Henry spoke slowly. Because it only listens to one voice. The ship was quiet again. Commander Rhea Morgan sat in the glowing command seat, her heart still racing. All around her, strange lights pulsed gently. The shields held strong. The alien weapons outside had failed to touch the ancient vessel. But She hadn't fired back. She didn't need to. This ship didn't want war. It had waited a long time for something else. For her. Outside the ship on the alien fleet, confusion turned to fear. Why didn't it attack? Is it broken? No, said Henry. Valor, eyes locked on the scanner. It made a choice. Then it's thinking, said a Kithine observer, floating, glowing with nervous energy. That's worse. Inside the ship, the chair released Rhea gently. She stepped onto the soft, glowing floor, her legs still shaky. In her head, the voice returned. You have passed the first test. Now you must see. See what? She asked out loud. The truth. What was forgotten? What was erased? The wall ahead shimmered. It opened to reveal a circular chamber, dark at first, then slowly filling with floating sparks of blue light. The moment she entered, the temperature dropped. The air felt older, like walking into a tomb. The memory chamber in the center of the room was a tall obelisk made of black crystal. It pulsed softly as she stepped closer. A whisper echoed. Place your hand on the memory stone. Rhea hesitated, then obeyed. The moment her fingers touched it, her vision went white. Visions of the forgotten war. She was no longer standing. Her mind flew through time. She saw Earth, but not as she knew it. The continents were different. Cities of silver floated in the sky. Towers pierced clouds. A ring circled the planet, filled with ships, humans, but not like now, taller, stronger, faster. Their eyes glowed with blue fire. They moved with purpose and spoke with voices that shook the ground. She saw planets, dozens, under human control, peace, prosperity, a golden age, until they came. The silence. From the edge of the galaxy, they arrived, not ships, not creatures. Shadows. A black mist that consumed stars. No face, no sound, just nothing. The first humans called them the Silence. They destroyed entire systems. They erased history. They were not machines, not life, but something in between. Something that hated sound, light, thought, anything that moved. And they could not be reasoned with. The defense, the first humans built great ships, living ships, like the one Rhea now stood in. Ships with voices, memory, and purpose. They were designed to survive when all else fell. But it wasn't enough. One by one, worlds died. She saw a final battle. 10,000 ships, all human, fighting near a black hole. Only one ship escaped. This one. The purpose. I was ordered to hide, the voice said in her mind. To sleep. To carry the memory of what once was. And wait. For one who carried the spark. Rhea saw the last commander, an armored woman with long silver hair, place her hand on the same crystal. One day, the woman said, another will speak our voice, another will return. Guide them well. The vision ended. Rhea falls to her knees. She gasped and fell to the floor. Tears filled her eyes. Her head ached. Her heart raced. I saw it. All of it. Yes, said the voice gently. Now you know why I exist. Why I chose you. She looked up, face pale. The Silence. Are they still out there? Yes. Sleeping, waiting. They will return. Rhea stood up slowly. Then we need to prepare. Outside, new orders, the alien. Fleets argued again. This ship holds ancient war data, said a Varnak officer. We must seize it! The human must step down, shouted another. It cannot belong to one species. Henry tried to calm them. She didn't take it. The ship chose her. Commander Lurak slammed the table. Then we force it to unchoose. Henry knew what that meant. They would try to break in, again, inside, The ship reacts. The lights dimmed. The ship's voice grew cold. Threat detected. They are preparing to breach. Rhea looked around. Can we stop them without hurting them? Only if they stop first. A panel opened beside her. Inside, a glowing orb pulsed slowly. This is the heart key. If removed, the ship will vanish into the deep void. You must decide now. Run or stand. Rhea decides. She stared at the glowing orb. If she pulled it, the ship would leave this galaxy, disappear into the dark. But the galaxy needed warning. They needed to know what was coming. No, she said firmly. I won't run. She stepped back into the command seat. Open external comms. I want to speak to every ship out there. Rhea Morgan's voice echoed through the dark. The enemy is not dead, it's only sleeping, and I think it's starting to wake up. For a moment, all the alien leaders on the fleet went silent. Some stared at her with fear, some with disbelief, others with quiet respect. Outside the ship, mixed reactions on the Kythine vessel, the floating minds whispered among themselves. She saw the silence. Impossible. Or, it has returned. On the Braval warship, the insectoid queen hissed in rage. The human lies. This is a power grab. Commander Lurak of the Varnak slammed his fist again. It doesn't matter what she says. That ship belongs to no one. We take it now. But Henri Valar, still aboard the science vessel, stood and spoke to the fleet. Listen to her. She is not asking for war. She is offering a warning. And none of us, not even the human, understands the full truth yet. Inside the ship, a new path opens. The comms went dark. Rhea let out a breath. Her hands trembled. She wasn't used to speeches. I don't know if they'll believe me, she said aloud. They don't need to, replied the ship calmly. You are not here for them. A door slid open behind her. You must go deeper now. There is more I must show you, but it is locked. The vault of silence. She followed the new path. It led to a long corridor lined with metal panels. Strange symbols glowed on the walls, shifting as she passed. The air felt heavier here, older, like even the ship was afraid. At the end was a thick, circular door, unlike any she had seen before. It was sealed tight, covered in symbols. In the wall, center was a small crystal, gray, lifeless. This is the vault, the voice said. Inside is the full record of the First War, all knowledge, all data. But it is locked with a code. Only a true memory holder can unlock it. Rhea touched the crystal. Nothing happened. The test begins. To unlock it, said the ship, you must face the truth, not with your voice, but with your mind. Suddenly everything around her faded. She was pulled back into the past. The memory world Rhea stood in the middle of a ruined battlefield. Burning stars lit the sky. Giant broken ships floated above her. The ground was ash and bone. Screams echoed. She turned and saw herself. But it wasn't really her. It was the silver-haired warrior from the vision, the last commander of the first line. The woman looked at her. You carry my blood, my thoughts, my fear. Do you truly want to remember what we faced? Rhea swallowed. Yes. The darkness. Returns a shadow rolled across the stars. Black mist poured from the sky like smoke, but it moved with purpose. Creatures without form emerged from it, like twisted ghosts made of glass and hunger. Every living thing that touched them turned to dust. The Silver Commander screamed. They weren't just killing us. They were erasing us. We lost Earth. We lost the colonies. We lost everything. Rhea watched humans fighting. dying, vanishing. She wanted to turn away. "You must not look away," said the voice, "because it is coming again." The locked crystal awakens. Back in reality, Rhea fell to her knees. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Her breathing was heavy. Her body shook, but she did not let go of the crystal. Her fingers tightened, and the gray crystal slowly began to glow. Soft blue light. Then brighter. Then white. The symbols on the door changed. One by one they blinked, and the vault opened. Inside the vault, she stepped inside a massive chamber filled with floating orbs, each a memory, a story, a file from the First War. They hovered, in silence, waiting. This is all that remains of the first civilization. Their history, their weapons, their knowledge. It is yours now. Rhea walked among them slowly, touching each one. Maps of ancient star systems, blueprints of powerful weapons, recordings of final messages. But one orb glowed differently. Red. Warning, the last broadcast. She touched the red orb. A final message played, crackling, with static. A male voice, calm but tired, spoke. "If this is being seen, we failed." The silence is not a species. It is a cycle. It returns when the galaxy forgets. To survive it, someone must remember. The recording ended. The ship speaks again. "You understand now. The enemy is not dead, only asleep, and the galaxy has already forgotten." Rhea clenched her fists. "Then we have to make them remember." Outside, a dangerous decision, Commander Lurak prepared a new plan. "This is our only chance," he growled. "If we can't enter, we disable it. Force her out." His engineers began charging a gravitic disruptor, a weapon designed to shake a ship apart without damaging its outer shell. "Fire it, now." Inside, the attack begins. The ship shook. The lights flickered. Rhea grabbed the control panel as alarms rang in her mind. "They're trying to force their way in. They will destroy me. And you." "Not if I stop them." The ship's hidden power. The voice hesitated. "There is one system, ancient, forbidden. It was never used, not even in war. But it will send a message they cannot ignore." Rhea nodded. "Do it." "Say the word." She closed her eyes and spoke one word. "Awaken." The shockwave had ended, but nothing felt normal. The entire alien fleet drifted in silence. Their systems were active again, but no one moved. No one fired. No one spoke. Because every ship, every species, had just heard the same voice. And it wasn't human. It was something older, deeper. A voice that felt like it came from the stars themselves. "This is not your war, but it will be your end, if you do not listen." Aboard the Varnak flagship commander, Lurak stood frozen on the bridge of his ship. His claws gripped the control table, hard enough to dent the steel. "That voice," he growled. "It spoke inside my mind." His second officer, a younger Varnak, looked pale. It felt like drowning." Lurak bared his teeth. "It was a threat." "No," said another voice, calm and clear. It was Henry Valar, who had just opened a channel to every fleet. "That wasn't a threat," Henry said. "It was a warning, aboard the Kethine vessel." The glowing minds floated in silence, their energy dimmed. One finally spoke. "It touched our collective mind, a thing older than stars. This ship carries something more than weapons." "It carries memory," they all agreed. "The human must not be harmed. She has become part of it." Back inside the ship commander, Rhea Morgan sat alone in the command seat. The lights around her pulsed gently, no longer flashing red. "The fleet is silent," the ship said. "They fear what they felt." "So do I," she whispered. "You spoke the word. Awaken." Now they've seen what I truly am. She leaned forward, hands on her knees. What did they see? A fragment of the power used in the First War, the true voice of command. You used it wisely, but I only wanted to protect us, Rhea said. And you did. You passed the second test. The Alien Council is called on a neutral channel. The alien leaders gathered to speak. Their holograms filled a shared space. Kytheen, Varnak, Braval, Zentari, Thulos, several others. All eyes turned to Rhea's image. She didn't look powerful. She looked tired. But the ship's lights behind her told a different story. Lurak spoke first. You carry a weapon. One that can end us all. Rhea shook her head. I don't want to end anyone. Then shut it down, hissed the Braval Queen. Let us study it. Henri appeared beside her. No, he said. You didn't find this ship. It found her. We've spent days trying to get in. We failed. She spoke. It answered. This is bigger than your pride or my research. It's about the survival of the galaxy. A choice is given. The council paused. Then the Kytheen made an offer. We will not fight if the human agrees to share the information, the Braval hissed. The Varnak growled. Rhea looked at the glowing command center around her. I will share, she said carefully, but not everything. Murmurs rose. She raised her voice. I saw what's coming. I saw what your people haven't. This ship carries the last record of a war none of you remember. An enemy is returning. If you want to survive, you'll stop fighting each other and start preparing. Meanwhile, deep within the ship A's, the council argued, the ship spoke to Rhea alone. There is one more chamber you must reach. A room even I was not allowed to open, until now. Why me? She asked. Because you carry more than voice. You carry blood. You are not just a human. You are a descendant of the first line. Their code lives in you. The ship opened a dark path. Alien ships react on the Varnak ship. Commander Lurak's patience ended. She will not surrender the ship. Then we must act. No, said his second-in-command. This is no longer about politics. You saw what it did. If it wanted to destroy us, it would have, Lurak snarled. You've grown weak. I've grown wise, the officer replied. And you are alone. He stepped back, and the rest of the bridge crew did not stop him. Lurak's control was over. Inside the ancient room, Rhea stepped into a room unlike the others. Dark stone, dim blue light. In the center stood a single object, a pod. It hummed gently. A stasis chamber. A body inside. Not human. Not alien. Something in between. The ship whispered. One of the first line survived. The last commander. She locked herself. Away. Until the voice returned. Rhea stepped closer. Her heart pounded. Inside the pod, the figure's eyes opened. Bright blue. Alive. Rhea had awakened Kale, an ancient commander of the first line, hidden inside the alien ship. Now deeper secrets stir, and something else is waking up. Far beyond the edge of the stars. Inside the ancient ship, Kale stepped down from the stasis pod. Her eyes glowed softly as she looked around. Time has passed, she said. Thousands of years had aged the ship, but Kale seemed untouched, like she had frozen time itself. Rhea stared at her. You were asleep. For how long? Kale placed a hand on the wall. The ship responded to her instantly, like it knew her. Since the collapse, Kyle said. Since the first enemy fell silent. But now, I feel it stirring again. Above the planet, alien fleets. The alien warships remained in orbit, weapons quiet, but fingers on triggers. The Varnak watched from afar, unsure. The Kythene shared thoughts in whispers. The Braval waited, their spines bristling. No one trusted. The others, all of them waited for one mistake, to open fire. Inside their command centers, they reviewed the message again and again. A ship that only obeys a human voice. A voice that triggered an ancient force. A figure now awake with unknown powers, and none of it made sense. Deep space, unknown region, Sector 9G, Forbidden Zone. In a forgotten corner of space, darkness. Moved. Something slithered through the void, far from stars. It was silent, cold, massive, not metal. Not flesh, older than war. Older than memory. One glowing red eye opened. It had felt the pulse. It had heard her voice. The enemy was waking. Back on the ancient ship, Kale walked beside Rhea through the corridors. The ship's walls lit up softly, with each step. Rhea asked, "What is the first enemy?" Kyle answered without stopping. "A force that nearly ended all life. It cannot be reasoned with. It only consumes. It defeated the oldest empires, and it's returning. This ship is not just a relic, it's a warning." Rhea paused. "Why now?" Kyle looked at her. "Because you spoke. You awakened the echo. And the enemy heard it too. Elsewhere on the ship, Henry's Discovery Doctor. HFY Valor and a small human science team had been granted access to part of the ship, under escort. He was deep in study when one of his scanners beeped wildly. "Energy spike," he muttered. "Unusual. Very old signature, almost like—" He stopped. Before him was a long black console. It looked untouched for centuries, but it had powered on. Symbols scrolled across the surface, ones he couldn't read, but a message displayed clearly. "Enemy presence detected. Phantom wave approaching." Henry's face turned pale. Alien ships react. Suddenly, every alien ship's systems flashed red. A wave of energy had just passed through the solar system. No source, no signal. But every ship felt it, like a scream, without sound. A shadow across their minds. Commanders barked orders. Scanners failed. AI systems glitched. The Braval panicked first. Their queen gave a shriek. "They've activated a weapon!" The Varnak believed the same. "Open fire!" But before they could press the command, a single word echoed in every ship's speaker, not from a human, not from any known species, just one word: silence. And everything froze. Back with Rhea, and Kale stopped walking. Her face grew tense. "It's already begun," Rhea asked. "What has?" Kale looked up, past the walls of the ship, as if she could see into space. "The void is moving. And we are not ready." Flashback. Kale's memory. Kale's mind was not human. When she remembered, the ship remembered too. Suddenly, Rhea saw visions around her. Massive fleets burned across the stars. Planets fell into black holes that weren't natural. Creatures with no faces, only claws and hunger, tearing through worlds. A voice in the memory whispered, "We thought they were gone. We were wrong." Council emergency meeting. Panic spreads. The T. Alien factions now held an emergency conference. The Kythene leader spoke calmly. "A presence has entered our space. It is not human. It is not part of this ship," the Braval queen hissed. "It is still the human's fault." Lurak, the Varnak commander, snarled. "We should destroy the ship before worse comes." Henry broke in. "You fools! You felt it, didn't you? You think that was human tech?" "That thing out there, it's the reason this ship exists." They all went silent. Henry pointed toward the image of Rhea. "She's the only one the ship listens to. If we want to survive, we have to trust her." Reluctantly, the aliens agreed to hold their fire. For now. Kyle reveals the ship's true purpose. Inside the ship's heart chamber, Kale showed Rhea the final truth. The ship lit up, showing a star map. One blinking red dot, moving through the A. Void, Kale spoke. This ship is one of 3, sent to different parts of the galaxy. Only one survived. Its purpose was not war. It was containment. Rhea swallowed hard. So if it failed, the enemy would be free? Kale nodded. It already is. Kale activated the ship's ancient warning. A signal spread across the stars. Now, far from the known galaxy, something has heard the call. Far beyond, known space. The enemy awakens in the blackest part of space, where no star dares shine. The darkness moved. There was no ship. No form, only shadow and hunger. 100 dead systems lit up for a moment, then went dark again. Silent, cold, erased. Something had heard the signal Kale sent, and now it was coming. A voice, ancient and hollow, whispered in the void. The echo has returned. The seal is broken. Begin consumption. Inside the ancient ship. Rhea learns the truth. Rhea stood before the star map. One red dot moved, fast, toward their system. The enemy. She turned to Kale. How do we stop it? Kale answered calmly. We don't, not yet. We run, we warn, and we prepare. The ship, once silent, now hummed with energy. Its engines were alive again. Dr. Henry rushed in. We just received over 1,000 replies from outer systems. They heard the signal, but Kale wasn't pleased. She shook her head. No, they heard us. It heard us too. Orbit. Alien fleets. In panic, every alien species, Varnak, Kythene, Braval, received the same incoming alert. Unknown hostile. Movement detected. Sector 9G compromised. Code. Nightfall. Panic spread. Braval ships began retreating. The Kythene started calculating jump paths. Even the cold Varnak were shaken. The Varnak commander, Lurak, growled, "The human girl triggered this. She woke the ghost." But his second-in-command replied quietly, "No. She only revealed what was already coming." On the ship, the council assembles again. Rhea stood before the alien leaders. She took a deep breath. This isn't about humans or your species. This is about survival. They remained silent. Kyle stepped beside her. The creature moving toward us is not a fleet. It's a living storm. It devours energy, life, memory. It killed gods. It silenced civilizations. We called it the first end. And it has returned, the Braval queen hissed. Then we should run. Rhea shook her head. If we all run, it'll follow and destroy every world one by one. Henry added, we have to fight. Together. For once. The ship's core. Ancient memory activation. Kale guided Rhea into the very center of the ship. A sphere floated above a glowing pit. This is the memory core, Kale said. It holds the last battle data of the First War. Kale touched the sphere. Rhea saw visions again, clearer this time. Giant machines trying to stop the shadow. Worlds turned into crystal tombs. Ancient warriors burning themselves out just to slow the thing down. Then, one final image. A human. Voice shouting a code. The shadow paused for a moment. Kyle whispered, "That's why it listens to you." Back in space, the shadow arrives in a nearby dead star system. The shadow appeared. It was not a ship. It had no engines, just a mass of black, rolling forward, growing. One alien probe tried to scan it. The signal vanished. The probe never existed again. The Kythene sent 3 warships to intercept. The shadow touched them. Nothing remained, just empty, frozen silence. The decision, humanity's role on board. The ancient ship, Kale spoke to Rhea alone. You are the key. The ship woke for you. The ship chose you. Because you are part of what was lost. Rhea looked confused. What do you mean? Kyle placed a small crystal on her hand. Rhea's skin glowed slightly. The crystal sank into her palm. Suddenly, she felt everything. The ship, the stars, the distant shadow. Kyle said quietly, You are of the first ones. Your blood carries memory, the voice of those who stood before the fall. Rhea stepped back. I'm just human. Kale smiled. And that may save us all. The ancient shadow moved again. It erased everything in its path. Only one ship, the one that responded to Rhea, could escape in time. But Rhea was no longer just a human. She was something far older. Hyperspace, a journey through forgotten roads. The ship moved through strange tunnels of light. These were not normal hyperspace lanes. They were older, forgotten by the galaxy. Kale stood near Rhea. Her voice was soft. We're moving through the paths of the first. No living being has used them in over 100,000 years. Rhea stared into the shifting lights outside. Why do I feel like I've been here before? Kale didn't answer, but her expression said enough. Arrival, the vault system. The ship exited hyperspace near a dark, broken world. Orbiting it was a massive structure, the vault, a forgotten storage facility of the First Empire. Rhea looked confused. Why here? Kale replied. This place holds answers, and maybe allies. The ship docked. As they entered the vault, lights flickered on one by one. Rhea's presence woke the ancient systems. A voice echoed through the walls. Genetic key confirmed. Access granted. Vault core. Memories of the past inside the vault's core. Rhea stood before a wall of light. Kale placed her hand on it. Images appeared. Humans in silver armor. Alien allies standing beside them. Great machines fighting against the shadow. And a terrible moment. When the First Empire fell, Henry whispered, We weren't Earth's first spacefaring civilization. Kyle nodded. No, humans came from the stars. They were the last hope of the First Empire. But when the shadow won, they were hidden, forgotten, reborn on Earth, with no memory. Rhea felt her knees weaken. We were the backup plan. The voice of the past. A hologram. Awakens a hologram flickered to life. It was a woman, tall, powerful, glowing faintly. She looked like Rhea. She spoke. If you are hearing this, the shadow has returned, and one of our bloodline has awakened. You are the last voice. Only you can unlock the weapon hidden in the beacon world. Kyle turned to Rhea. You know what must come next. Rhea said nothing, but her eyes burned with purpose. Meanwhile, the shadow. Spreads far away, the shadow reached a trade hub. 1,000 ships tried to flee. None survived. The shadow didn't shoot. It didn't speak. It just unmade things. One Varnak fleet tried to fire at it. Their weapons passed through as if the shadow wasn't real. Then within seconds, the fleet vanished. One word echoed across abandoned channels. Silence. Alien Council. Fear and division. In the galactic core, the remaining alien empires met again. The Braval Queen demanded to flee. The Varnak general wanted to attack. The Kithine suggested hiding entire planets. But none could agree. One Kithine. Scientist finally said, There is only one chance. That ship, that human girl. They carry something none of us do. The chamber fell silent. For the first time, they all looked toward Earth. Back at the vault, a secret revealed. Deep inside the vault, a sealed chamber opened. Rhea and Kyle entered. Inside floated a strange device, pulsing with blue light. Kyle whispered, This is the Starfire code, the key to waking the beacon world. Rhea approached it. As her hand touched the device, visions flooded her mind. A giant, planet-sized weapon, hidden beyond a black hole, waiting for someone of her bloodline. Then the device spoke. Beacon world coordinates uploaded. Final defense. System awaiting command. Rhea turned to the others. It's time to wake up Earth's real legacy. Rhea discovered the truth. Humans once ruled the stars, but forgot everything after the fall. Now, only one ancient world remains hidden, the Beacon world, and it has waited, just for her. The journey to the Beacon world, the ancient ship cut through space faster than any known engine. Beside Rhea, Kale and Henry stood silent. They had seen the map. They knew what waited at the destination. The Beacon world was hidden behind a black hole, an impossible location. Only ancient ships knew the path. As the black hole appeared before them, Henry whispered, "No ship can pass through that." Kyle corrected him, "No alien ship can." The human vessel dove into the darkness, arrival at the Beacon world. When the darkness cleared, they saw it. A planet-sized machine orbited the black hole, wrapped in rings of metal and light. It glowed faintly, sleeping, silent. Rhea spoke softly. "That is the beacon?" Kale nodded. "The final creation of the First Empire, built to stop the shadow if all else failed. It only activates for a true bloodline." The ship approached. The Beacon world scanned them. Then, a path of light opened. Rhea stepped forward, entering the core. The inside was vast, miles of glowing halls and golden machinery. The walls whispered in an old human tongue, yet Rhea understood every word. As she walked, lights turned on around her. The way. Core woke up. A massive chamber appeared. In the center stood a console, ancient, pulsing with waiting energy. A voice echoed, "Identity confirmed. Welcome, last voice." The voice of humanity. Rhea placed her hand on the console. Images flashed in her mind. Planets burned. Stars died. The First Empire fell, but they left this weapon behind, and one bloodline to control it. She heard her own voice speaking words she didn't know. "Light the stars. Call the fleet. Prepare the fire." The Beacon world shook. Across its surface, hidden cannons and strange weapons rose from the ground. One by one, systems came online. The return of the human fleet in a hidden part of the galaxy. Forgotten ships stirred. They were massive, black and gold, shaped like wings, sleeping for 100,000 years. The beacon had sent a signal. Across ancient vaults and stasis fields, human warships began to awaken. Rhea watched through the ship's screen. Her eyes filled with tears. We are not alone. Meanwhile, Earth receives the signal on. Earth, in deep orbit, humans picked up a strange signal. It wasn't in any known language, but somehow, everyone understood it. A child watching the stars whispered, "She's calling us." Earth's Space Command scrambled. Fleets were mobilized, and above all, one message was sent back. "We hear you. Tell us where to go. The shadow moves." The shadow was not still. It had felt the beacon awaken. It had destroyed fleets, worlds, and even stars. But this power, this human voice, it had not heard in 100,000 years. The shadow changed shape. Thousands of dark ships formed from nothing. It surged toward the beacon, toward her. Rhea's choice. Kale looked at Rhea. You woke the weapon, but to use it, it must bond with your life. If you fall, it falls too. Rhea didn't hesitate. Then I won't fall. She stepped into the final chamber. The walls lit up. The beacon spoke. Last voice. Shall I prepare the starfire? Rhea said just one word. Yes. The beacon world woke. Ancient human fleets stirred from 100,000 years of sleep. And Rhea, the last voice, had taken her place at the heart of it all. The shadow was coming. This time, humanity would not run. It would burn like a star. The calm before the storm. The beacon floated in space, glowing like a small sun. Inside, Rhea stood at the command core. Her voice controlled systems that once needed armies. But she was calm. Kyle asked softly, "Are you afraid?" Rhea smiled. "No, it's afraid." Behind them, holograms of awakening ships lit up. Hundreds, then thousands. The first fleet of humanity had returned. The enemy arrives. The shadow came like a storm. Not ships, not beings, but pure darkness shaped into killing forms. The sky turned black. Even the stars disappeared. Henri watched in horror. "How do you fight something that isn't alive?" Kale replied. "You don't fight it with weapons." She turned to Rhea. "You fight it with memory." The voice commands. The beacon opened all channels. Rhea's voice echoed across space, across minds, across time. "You tried to erase us, but we remember now. We remember what we were, and we remember you." She raised her hand. "Let the stars burn." The battle begins. The first human warships moved. Their weapons were strange, based on energy long lost to the galaxy. They didn't fire lasers. They sang through space. The shadow tried to twist and dodge, but the ships moved like one being. Every time Rhea spoke, the fleet reacted. "Defend Sector 9. Ships warped instantly. "Fire the arc cannon." The beacon launched beams of blue fire. "Protect the vault ship." A dozen cruisers formed a shield. It was not a battle. It was a symphony. The shadow breaks. For the first time in forever, the shadow struggled. Its ships dissolved under the fire. Its silence was broken by cracks in space. And then, it screamed. Every mind heard it. It was not just a scream of pain. It was a scream of fear. Kale's eyes widened. It remembers her. It remembers humanity. The final weapon. The beacon charged its main weapon, the starfire. A sphere of light formed above the beacon's surface. It spun faster, brighter, hotter, but the shadow wasn't done. It launched a final wave, a dark spear aimed at the core. If it reached Rhea, everything would end. The human ships couldn't stop it in time, so she spoke her final command. "Redirect all power to me." The last stand energy surged into her body. Her eyes glowed white. The console melted under her hands, but she didn't stop. She screamed, "I am humanity. I am the first and the last voice. Burn!" The beacon fired. The light that ended. The dark A beam of pure light shot across space. It didn't just destroy the shadow. It erased it, not with violence, but with truth. The shadow couldn't exist in the presence of memory, voice, and will. It tried to scream again, but it faded into nothing. Silence, then hope. The battlefield was quiet. The human fleet floated in formation. The beacon's glow faded, and Rhea collapsed. Kale caught her. Her voice was faint. "Did it work?" Kale smiled through tears. "Yes, it's over." A new beginning weeks. Later, the galaxy changed. The alien empires united under a peace treaty. Humanity's true history was revealed. The First Fleet remained, guarding, watching, and Earth received a new signal. "Come home." Rhea stood aboard the command. Bridge once more. But now she wasn't alone. Millions stood behind her.